A self-proclaimed prophet known as Pastor Awor claimed to have healed multiple HIV-positive congregants through prayer. His followers declared themselves cured. They even had doctors and files in the pulpit. Some were encouraged to stop the treatment. Applause followed. Offerings followed. What can the mightiest prophet do? Medical tests later confirmed the obvious. Congregants were still HIV positive. No miracle, no healing. Just cameras and some random files and a very confident man on a pulpit. According to health officials, there is currently no scientific evidence that prayer cures HIV, which is crazy because judging by the crowd reaction, this seems to be a very new information. Now, when this story broke, like the internet, many people said the same thing. The pastor is fake, and actually, bro, if you think about it for 1 second, they're actually right. But that's not the story. The real story is, why does peace keep working? Why is it working on these other people? Why do people, especially our mothers, trust men like this with their health, their money, and their lives? Why do a claim this extreme not triggering any skepticism? Just devotion. And why does a religion introduced during a colonial rule, a religion that taught obedience, suffering, and silence, still have this much control over an African minds today? Bro, I'm not making this video about the prophets. It's about the system, bro. A system that arrived with missionaries, survived colonialism, and now thrives on desperation. Let's talk about Christianity in Africa, because Christianity did not arrive in Africa peacefully. It arrived with ships, guns, and flags. Missionaries came before colonial administrators. They were colonizers, bro. And when the colonizers arrived, the groundwork had already been laid by these guys, Africans were told your gods are demons, They were told your traditions are evil, your ancestors are cursed, your culture is backward. And in exchange for all these stupid insults, we were offered salvation, we were made to become obedient, and a book written in a foreign land we have never even seen. The Bible now became a tool of discipline. Verses about obedience were emphasized. Obedience, bro. Verses about resistance were ignored. You had slaves who were given slave Bible. They weren't given Bibles that can encourage you to resist against the oppressors. They were given verses like slaves, obey your masters, submit to governing authorities, convenient teachings, that will build their own empire, not us. They wanted to use us. For an empire, you can read King Leopold's letter to Christian missionaries. That is a very good example. Christianity did not just convert Africans, it retained them to accept suffering, to wait for heaven, to obey authority, even when the authority is violent, corrupt, and cruel. Bro, let's talk about Jesus. Jesus was a Jewish man born in Roman-occupied Judea. Speaking to Jews about Jews' law, he says himself, I was only sent to the lost sheep of Israel. Bro, we know there's 12 sheep of Israel. Those are 12 tribes that were given to Jacob. We know the story, bro. This is not Africa. This is not Kenya. This is just Israel, bro. The Bible repeatedly describes God's covenant with specific people. 12 tribes of Israel, a documented lineage. We know, bro, no African comes from the tribe of Israel. A close ethnic story. African appear in the Bible mostly as slaves, servants, or just background characters like the guy, the Ethiopian eunuch. And yet somehow we were told that this is our story, our salvation, and we are supposed to be saved by this bullshit. It's our identity. African spirituality, complex, communal, moral, everything was erased, labeled satanic. What replaced it was a foreign theology that demanded submission, guilt, fear of hell, fear of demons, fear of questioning. These are things we didn't have before. We didn't have fear of what. We're warriors, bro. Colonialism ended, but the system stayed. Today, the pastors replaced the colonial administrators. The pulpit replaces the whip, bro. You know, we've seen so many pastors abusing the congregants. We've seen this is something, bro. These are colonialism. And obedience is still the currency, especially for women, bro. Our mothers. A mother with no school fees is told to sow a seed. This is something we've seen growing up. This is a mother somewhere, you know, it's either your mother or a mother, you know. A mother with a sick child is being told that your faith is so weak, you're not praying enough. You need to sow a seed to God so that your child can regain back, you know. A mother struggling financially give her last money, not to teachers, not to doctors, but a man in a suit promising miracles. This isn't faith, this is exploitation, and yet churches are still full. Why, bro? Why are churches still full? Because Christianity doesn't just sell hope, it sells obedience. Questioning is rebellion. You can't question anything, because if you doubt is a sin. Living is a fucking damnation. You will be, bro, even in Islam, if you live, you'll be fucking unalived, bro. Christianity in Africa doesn't function like a religion. It functions like a cult. Total authority, fear-based control, financial extraction, emotional dependency, and most importantly, identity. Bro, when we have debates with our African brothers, they take this thing as an identity, bro. It's like you are fighting him one-on-one. It's not you, bro. I'm just talking about the text. Many Africans don't just believe in Christianity because they are Christianity, because they think that this is our story, our text, our heritage, because what was there before has already been erased. Remove Christianity and you'll remove community, morality, and purpose. And that's not, bro, that's by design. The system that arrived through force sustained itself through fear. And that's what we're witnessing right now. Bro, I'm not making this video to tell you that you have to believe what I believe. No. I'm just noticing patterns. A religion imposed through colonialism used to justify slavery, now repackaged to drain the poor. The faces have changed, the system hasn't. The system hasn't changed, bro. If your faith makes you afraid to think, if it punishes questions, if it protects conmen and blames victims, then maybe the problem isn't you. Maybe it never was. Just leave the cult already, mate, because it's not giving you anything right now. We are encouraging all African children, let's wake up and fight these things, because our mothers are deep into it, our fathers are deep into it, all our families are deep into it. But this is just white imperialism, bro. Islam is just Arabization of Africa. We need to wake up and build our fucking continent, mate.